करने की सलाह। अच्छा, क्योंकि हम बैंकों की बात कर रहे हैं तो एक बार कैथलिक सीरियन बैंक, एक तो निफ्टी बैंक स्क्रीन पर लेकर आइएगा प्लीज, और फिर हम डिटेल में बात करेंगे सीएसबी बैंक की जिसके नतीजे आए हैं। और एक चीज आपने देखी होगी कि मुनाफा करीब करीब यहाँ पर 2% बढ़ा है, हालांकि बैंक की ब्याज से कमाई 17% का उछाल दिखाने में कामयाब रही है। एसेट क्वालिटी में भी सुधार देखने को मिला है। अब इन नतीजों पर हम डिटेल में बात करेंगे कंपनी के एमडी और सीईओ प्रलय मोंडल से। प्रलय जी, स्वागत है, बधाई हो इन नतीजों के लिए एंड हैप्पी दिवाली सर इन एडवांस। हमें अगर एक ब्रेकअप, थैंक यू वेरी मच सर, एक अगर ब्रेकअप सर दे सके, कॉर्पोरेट बुक की स्थिति क्या है, स्पेशली आपका बैंक जाना जाता है गोल्ड लोन्स के लिए, वहां पर कितना पिकअप देखने को मिला है?
We had a very good quarter on the gold loan. We grew almost by 47%. Today our gold loan portfolio in the mix is around 43%. So we had an excellent quarter on the gold loan side. On the corporate side, we had a reasonable quarter. I think from a quality of the portfolio perspective, things are just getting better. We had another quarter with a negative credit cost. Slippages were stable. And overall, I think it was an overall good quarter because on a YOY basis, year-on-year basis, we had a 30% growth in profit. So which is not too bad. And the bank has shown 2 consecutive quarters that we are growing faster than the system. So this quarter we have grown by 24.1%, which is probably higher than the system because still we don't know the inter-systemic growth. And last quarter also grew faster than the system. So I think we have reversed the trend and we are now hopefully will be consistently growing faster than the system right now.
So you're hopeful of this that you'll maintain the consistency. मार्जिन्स की स्थिति क्या है प्रलय जी, अगर उसका एक अंदाजा दे सके, क्योंकि सभी बैंकों से जो हम बात कर रहे हैं सबके लिए क्वार्टर बेहतर मार्जिन्स वाला रहा है। हाउ इज इट बिन फॉर यू, और कितना और इम्प्रूवमेंट देखने को मिल सकता है मार्जिन्स में?
This quarter our margin was 5.6%, which was significantly higher than last year and was even better than last quarter. But eventually marginal there will be a rationalization in margin over a period of time as the cost of funds starts going up with the deposit cost increasing for the system. So eventually, we don't know 3 quarters, 4 quarters how long it takes, but eventually it will normalize. So our longer term view is margins, we would like to keep it somewhere between 5 to 5.5%, maybe closer to 5. But we will focus more on growth because, as I said before, I don't want to compromise growth for margins. And ultimately, net interest income is a multiplication of margins and a balance sheet size. So we'll focus on balance sheet growth.
Okay, तो वही प्लेजर मैं पूछना चाहूँगा जो हर्षिता का जो प्रश्न था, अगर ग्रोथ हासिल करनी है तो मैं पूछना चाहूँगा कि एक सेकेंड हाफ ऑफ दिस फिस्कल आप कितनी क्रेडिट ग्रोथ देख रहे हैं और वो किस मार्जिन ट्रेजेक्ट्री में आ सकती है? फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल द ग्रोथ आउटलुक एंड लाइकली टू बी द मार्जिन ट्रेजेक्ट्री with that growth. Sir, Pralay sir.
We are bullish on growth because I think demand is coming back in the system. The main thing is, of course, is growth in the liability franchise because finally funding of the growth also has to happen. So we are building a lot of focus on the liability growth of the bank. But we are confident that we'll be able to beat the system in terms of credit growth in the bank. On the margins, as I said before, that yields, you cannot pass on everything in your cost of funds to the customers eventually. So we are going through that process where things are getting marginalized, where cost of deposits or cost of funds will continue to go up and yields will normalize. And hence, gradually margins will come closer to somewhere between 5 to 5.5%. But I'm okay with 5% also, provided we are able to beat the system in terms of credit growth. And that's what we are focused clearly on execution. And if you do the execution right, and more importantly, we are not looking quarter to quarter. We are looking at slightly longer term. And if we build a compounding growth story and build a machinery to build that through retail, wholesale, and more importantly, the gold loan business is doing extremely well for us. We are adding 100 more branches this year. So all of this together, I think we have a good growth story ahead of us.
सर एग्जैक्टली आपकी कासा डिपॉजिट्स की रेंज क्या है इस वक्त और कासा आउटलुक क्या है सर आपका फॉर द फुल ईयर?
We grew CASA by around 15-16% this quarter. Deposit growth was less than 10%. So overall, our deposit growth was 10. CASA ratio is around 34.27% this quarter. But what will happen is that even if you grow CASA much faster than the deposits, but if the balance sheet growth is significantly higher, like last year, our credit growth was 9 to 10%. Now already we are seeing a 24% growth. So typically the funding CASA takes time to build. So to that extent, we think that the CASA ratio is not the right parameter at this point of time to judge the bank. It will come in the long run. And obviously in the long run, we will have a, kind of a target above 40% as well CASA ratio in the next 3, 4, 5 years. But at this point of time, CASA ratio is not the most important thing. Growth will happen, and if growth happens, some of the funding has to happen through deposits as well. So but CASA growth will be faster than the deposits. But the actual impact of CASA growth on the CASA ratio will be lower. So effectively, CASA growth will be higher, but ratio will come down slightly.
प्रलय मोंडल, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया हमारे लिए समय निकालने के लिए. विश यू ऑल द वेरी बेस्ट इन द कमिंग क्वार्टर्स. ये बात हुई कैथलिक सीरियन बैंक के मैनेजमेंट कह रहे हैं कि ग्रोथ पर ही फोकस रहेगा, मार्जिन पर इतना नहीं, लेकिन थोड़ा बहुत मार्जिन 5% के आसपास संभल जाने की पूरे आसार बनते दिखाई दे रहे हैं. इधर भी वही हुआ है, ऊपरी लेवल से स्टॉक थोड़ा सा करेक्ट करता हुआ दिखाई दिया है. महेश्वरी साहब ने तो क्लियर कट कह दिया है कि आईडीएफसी फर्स्ट बैंक ही खरीदेंगे वो, क्योंकि वहां पर भरोसा है तेजी का. गौरव बिस्सा, अगर आपने बैंकों में कोई पोजीशन लेनी हो, कंसिडरिंग आज जिस तरह की रफ्तार दिखाई है, चाहे वो कोटक हो या फिर आपका एक्सिस हो, और आईसीआईसीआई बैंक तो टॉप परफॉर्मर रहा ही है.